end with this. This is the Payment Systems Regulator. This is the regulator for electronic and digital payments, banking payments in the UK. So they describe themselves, they say, every time anyone uses a cash machine, transfers money, uses contactless or gets paid, they use a payment system. And so the PSR is there to look after that. Now, they have published a report on APP fraud. This is authorized push payment fraud. This is basically when you get these telephone calls from these dodgy people that claim that they're from your mobile phone company or whoever it happens to be. And of course, you've got to make some kind of payment to them as a result. They're basically pretending to be an official organization. So PSR has published this. Let's have a look at some of the data here. They're saying that the TSB, for example, bank loses £348 for every £1 million of transactions that they do. They are in the lead. Santander comes second with £322, and Metrobank third at £280, and so on. You can see, so every £1 million of transactions results in that amount of fraud. And then they talk about the number of banks, or which banks are the best at paying this back to customers. And this is important because the PSR has decided that they're going to mandate banks paying this money back. So here's Chris Hemsley, the Payment Systems Regulator. He is saying that prevention is key. That means driving change in the culture of payments to improve fraud prevention and focus all firms on protecting consumers and businesses. He went on to say there are two aspects to this. First, moving to a mandatory approach, using the Faster Payments Rulebook to include every payment firm using the Faster Payment System, because, of course, there are many other institutions other than banks that are using faster payments. And he goes on to say, second, it means bringing in incentives on both the sending and receiving side. After all, in order to commit an APP fraud, you need control of a payment account. So what they're basically saying is that once these new rules come out, and they're going to be formally announced in a couple of weeks' time, that when these new rules come out, that both the sending and receiving banks will have to pay half each in money back to the person who's been defrauded. Now, some people are saying, well, this is ridiculous because, of course, people that are being defrauded have been stupid enough to get themselves defrauded in the first place, and why should the banks pay, and therefore bank customers pay, and so on. But nonetheless, that is the direction that they're going in, and the question is why? Well, maybe we get a clue from some of the other publications from the Payment Systems Regulator. So this is something that was published by them in 2020. They entitled this Challenges to Innovation. And of course, they're asking the question here, would the idea of tying payments to digital identity be welcomed in the UK? Well, of course, if fraud is a big issue, then perhaps it would be welcomed in the UK. Here's another one published in July 2022. PSR publishes its response to the PSR panel's Digital Payments Initiative. And they say, helping to remove barriers to new digital payment services, which better meet the needs of people who currently rely on cash, is a focus of the PSR. Panel's report focused on the potential for new open banking-based account-to-account payment services. It came up with 12 recommendations covering open banking payments, the PSR's card acquiring market review, improved data collection, digital identity, and fraud prevention and protection. So it's pretty obvious where this is going. The banks could do a lot more to prevent fraud. And of course, we could do a lot more to educate ourselves on how to prevent being defrauded. But in the meantime, that is being used, it seems to me, as an effort to push ahead with the digital identity agenda.
I just smile here slightly, Mike, because I remember years ago being told that when all the digital PIN numbers came in, we wouldn't have fraud. Don't sign your checks. That's old hat. All you need is a PIN number, and you've got a PIN number, and all this goes away. Now we've got another layer. Now we need the digital identity to lock us into the surveillance state.
Yes. Well, Dr. David Cartland was tweeting this out today. I just thought we'd end on it. We may have shown it before. I can't remember, but it's valid anyway. This is
Bill Gates.
Bill, thank you. Let's infect computers with viruses. A young Bill Gates, let's infect computers with viruses and then sell the antivirus software. And an older Bill Gates, let's infect people with viruses and then sell vaccines. I think that
sums it up.
It does.
Well, we'll end there. A pretty heavy UK column news, but these subjects need talking about. We've got very, very serious things going on. And the key bit is while the suffering in the world is going on, we've got some really dangerous government policies, surveillance policies coming in. So we'll encourage viewers, wherever you are in the world, to think about that and think about what's happening in your own country. Final note is a very big thank you for everybody supporting the UK column. We can only do what we do with your financial support, and also a big thank you to people who've been kind enough to send us some really lovely Christmas cards. So thank you for that boost towards the end of December.
See you for extra in a couple of minutes.
Yeah, bye-bye.